Hey guys, it's Sign here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we're doing another manga review. Today we're still looking at Slam Dunk. We're looking at the last chapter in Slam Dunk 2 in this edition, which would be chapter 22. Then we're looking at all of volume 3, all of volume 4, and about halfway through volume 5. Let's see, it should be chapter 48, which is maybe a third actually of volume 5, not half. And this is basically the first scrimmage that Sakuragi ever participates in, right? This is the first game of the season. It's a scrimmage against Roinan, and that's kind of what we're focusing on here. So let me give you the book facts, and then we can get started here. So the author is Takehiko Inoue. Of course, the publisher in this case is Panini Manga. This is the Mexican edition. It has a very specific format that is exclusive to Takehiko Inoue, basically, although it is very similar to the editions that we see for Naoki Urasawa here in the US, right? Or some of these nicer collector editions that are in paperback from Viz Media, right? That sort of stuff. It's very similar to that format, but it's a different size, so it's not quite the same. The demographic is shonen. This used to be on Shonen Jump. The genre is sports. There's a romance element, but in this case, it's very, hidden deeply in the background because this is very much a sports game. This is the kind of main meat and potatoes of the story, and so this arc is basically exclusively just a sports manga kind of feeling arc, right? So it's a basketball game. And adaptations wise, it does have two. You can watch one of them on Netflix. I don't know where you can watch the original, but the one on Netflix is like a 3D CGI animated movie. I don't think it looks that good, but I've not seen it, so I can't really say. And the rating for this is basically a 5 out of 5. I thought this was amazing. This really sold me on this series. It's really well done. It was really, really phenomenal. I actually loved this arc. You know, I'm not a basketball fan. I don't really watch any basketball at all. I mean, I'm vaguely aware of like the Mavericks and the Houston Rockets and stuff, but I don't really follow this at all. But this really made me very interested in basketball while I was reading it. Like, Takehiko Inoue knows how to make you invested in what's going on. And I think that a lot of creators that focus on sports manga really are good at that, right? I mean, Haikyuu is a series that does a great job at doing that. And obviously Blue Lock as well, right? Even if Blue Lock is a bit weirder, it's not really about soccer, it's about being a striker on a soccer team, right? But that's enough about that. So yeah, premise-wise, Shohaku is scheduled for a practice game, a scrimmage with Roinan, which is one of the big players in the area, right? And it seems that Sakuragi will get to play, which is very exciting for him, but he is an amateur, and this is going to be a problem going forward, right? So that's basically the general idea here. In terms of plotline, Sakuragi manages its layup at the end of the last arc, right? And so he is in class, he daydreams, and then he gets a nightmare about Akagi's face on Haruko's body, which is kind of understandable because Haruko and Akagi are siblings, right? Haruko Akagi is, I can't remember his name, Akagi's younger sister, right? And so he gets a practice, he gets assigned more layups, and he manages to develop his skills as this is going, right? Then the team talks about the fact that they are going to face off against Roinan in a week, and that it's time to prepare for that, right? And so when the team finishes up with this, a boy shows up, and it turns out that he's from Roinan. He is one of their new players, and he's here to scout, right? And he sees Sakuragi taking the time after practice to do jumping, right? He's trying to do a slam dunk, and I don't think he manages to do it. I think he fails at it, but this boy sees Sakuragi's insane jumping ability, right? His ability, his athleticism. And so they chat. And it turns out that this guy's name is Aida, or Aita, I can't remember. I think it's Aida, A-I-D-A, right? And he's scouting. And so Hanamichi shows off because he's Hanamichi, he's stupid. And he shows off to this guy, and he tells him, you know, I am the best in this team. I am going to be captain once Akagi leaves, right? And Aida falls for it because he's a very earnest guy. And then elsewhere, Akagi and Kogure, who's the guy with the glasses, strategize, right? They know they can't fight Sendo, who's the ace, but they have to find a way around him, right? And so they kind of continue doing this, and then we transition away to a new scene where it's the last practice of the week. Akagi and Sakuragi stay late practicing catching rebounds because Akagi tells Sakuragi, if you control the rebound, you control the game, right? If you're able to gain possession of the ball from the team you're fighting against, you will win, right? And so Sakuragi really internalizes this, and he does his best with what he can, right? So it's time for game day, and the boys head over to Roinan. We get introduced to their coach, and this guy called Ozumi, who has a big grudge against Akagi because Akagi showed him up last year, or the year before that, I can't remember. And Sakuragi's boys, his friends, also show up to support him, right? And the team lines up. It's Akagi, Kogure, Yasuda, Shiozaki, and Rukawa. So Sakuragi doesn't get to play. He doesn't get to start. But the way basketball works is that you can switch out your players as many times as you want. So that doesn't mean that he won't get to play. It just means he doesn't get to start, right? His starting lineup is basically all of his best players, right? And Anzai is in charge of the game, right? And to calm Hanamichi down, because he gets upset about this, Coach Anzai tells him, he's his secret weapon, so he needs to relax. He will be called on when it's necessary, right? And so this gets Sakuragi kind of excited, and it's kind of funny that Anzai really knows what to do when it comes to Sakuragi, and he allows Sakuragi a lot of liberties that I think are pretty funny. So the game starts. Sendo arrives, and Sendo is the best player on Roinan's team, and he's awesome, right? So there's a jump ball to start the game, and Shohaku wins, but the ball is stolen quite quickly after that. Sendo scores immediately, and Ozumi constantly blocks shots that are taken by the other team, and he's actually slightly bigger than Akagi, so that's pretty easy. He's a pretty good postman, and Sakuragi keeps trying to get in the game, right? And he's dumb. The team can't really beat Sendo and Ozumi together, and they start losing at this point. They're 19-0, so they're losing by 19 points. The team is starting to lose morale at this point, and Rukawa and Akagi manage to finally force a score, right? So they get 19-2, and then 19-4, and then the first half is a hard-fought, battle, but they do manage to finish, right? And it ends up being 50-42. So Roinan is winning by 8 points. That's only 4 baskets, or less, depending on what place you shoot from. And Sakuragi didn't get to play at all. The second half starts, and Shohaku keeps the streak up. They're barely losing, but they are still losing, right? Sakuragi continues to pester everyone, and Sendo finds it fun. He thinks it's hilarious that this guy is constantly doing this, right? Because Sakuragi is like shitting on his own team, he's shitting on the other team, and he's just trying to get in the game, and he's not allowed to, right? And then Sendo actually likes this so much that he taunts Sakuragi into getting into the game, right? He keeps telling him to show up. And Coach Anzai sees that the boys are getting tired at this point from having to keep the pressure up so long, and he tells Sakuragi to warm up. And then Ozumi cracks Akagi's head open. He, I think he slams the ball into his face, right here, or maybe it's his shoulder. It's with his elbow. I can't remember, but he hurts Akagi's head, and so Akagi has to get out to get some medical help, right? And so Sakuragi manages to get in, and as soon as he does, he freezes because he's never really played a game, right? And he spends a lot of time just being useless. Eventually, he comes out of it. He focuses up, and he blocks a shot from Ozumi, who is bigger than him because he's even bigger than Akagi, right? And this kind of gets Ozumi quite angry, right? He hurts him by falling on him. And then Rukawa kicks Sakuragi's ass just because they fight each other all the time. They're still losing 68-61 for Roinan, and Ozumi fails his free throws. Then Sakuragi finally locks in at this point. And he remembers, oh crap, I gotta chase rebounds, right? And so he chases the ball like a psycho. He blocks Ozumi out. And then because Sakuragi never passes to Rukawa, they continue to score because Rukawa is the best player, right? So the other team is constantly trying to block him. But Sakuragi is ahead of them by accident because he doesn't like Rukawa, so he never passes to him, even though he should. And so when he passes to everyone else who's not blocked, they manage to score quite well. And so this actually manages to turn the loss slightly less, right? So from 68-65, they end up getting to 70-65, which is still not good. They still lose, but they're doing okay, right? Rukawa is really tired at this point, and Sakuragi wakes him up by being annoying, right? It's 72-67 on a rebound, and then Sakuragi finally manages to get his hands on the ball, right? He changes the flow of the game here. We get a 76-70, Akagi returns, and Rukawa gets taken out, and Akagi is in, right? And then Sakuragi tries to crush out his enemies under the rim, right? He tries to beat them to every rebound, and finally, thanks to his efforts, Shohaku takes the lead, right? They're 77-76. And Sendo takes the lead back, 79-77, 81-79, and they continue this like very short, very grueling battle. And Rukawa gets back in. He and Sakuragi block Sendo together, which means that Osumi is free, but without Sendo, it's harder for them to score, right? And he taunts them some more. He's really having fun. He manages to score some more, so they end up 85-81. And then Sakuragi manages to block Sendo's shot. Rukawa shoots, and they're 85-84. They're almost about to finish the game here. And then out of nowhere, Sakuragi manages to score a layup. This gets them to 86 points against Roinan's 85 points. But Sendo manages to steal a win right from under them in the last second. And this crushes Hanamichi, right? He's like, fuck, dude, what the hell? We were about to win and it got stolen from us. That's horrifying. That sucks, right? Because he doesn't understand the rules of the game that well. And so he was crushed by this defeat because it was barely a defeat, right? But it did count. So this is really good. I really enjoyed this. This was a really exciting game. It was so cool. It was really, really enjoyable. The depth of the characters, the interest in the game that all of them show, Sakuragi freezing up and then finding his resolve and then finding a way to really be useful to the team is awesome. I really enjoyed this. I think that there was a lot of great work done here to really make Sakuragi understand basketball and to make you excited about it. So very great stuff. I really, really liked it. I loved this arc. It was phenomenal. In terms of characters, we get introduced to Sendo, who's Sakuragi's new rival. He's the Roinan ace. We get Ozumi, who is an old enemy of Akagi's. He has awesome blocks. He's just a massive guy. And then we see that Sakuragi finally feels passion for the sport. And he feels a lot of pain at losing the game, right? And this is a loss that is commiserated with the team, right? And so they understand him. They get what he's coming from. And they know that he'll get better from this, right? And so they tell him to relax and they go on, right? In terms of world building here, we get introduced to layups, to blocks, to rebounds, and we get that first time freeze from Sakuragi, right? That everyone apparently seems to have. And so we don't get world building in terms of understanding the other players or the other teams, but we get a lot of world building in terms of understanding the sport and kind of the things that players go through. So I like that. I think it was really well done. Not too exciting though, in terms of storytelling. I mean, it's pretty basic stuff that most people that have, a passing interest in basketball, probably from playing at recess in school, would know, right? Or playing at the gym during gym class, right? So nothing too exciting in terms of world building, but the plot was phenomenal. In terms of artwork, it's so dynamic. It's really, really awesome. The colors are still really great when they show up. And I think that there was almost no, if none, of the examples of the grayed out colors. So that's really good because those are really horrible. But overall, artwork, awesome. No fan service at all. I mean, I guess if you like sweaty dudes, you'd be into it. But in the kind of normal Shonen Jump sense, there's no fan service here. Ratings-wise, 5 out of 5. Amazing, very bittersweet ending there, but a phenomenal way to end the story because it really is great. It shows, Hanamichi, the difficulties of the sport. It shows you that, Hanamichi is going to be the hero of the game. He's going to be the main character of the story, but that doesn't mean that he has that much plot armor, right? He can't win his first game. He'll lose it, and he'll gain from that loss, right? So I really liked it. I think that overall this was a very phenomenal start to the real basketball in Slam Dunk. So I really, really enjoyed it. I think it's phenomenal. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.